Welcome to Super Soul Sisters. My name is Jamila Oluka and you're watching UBC Live, Inspiring Uganda. We are here at Dotash where you can find all this beautiful furniture. And also I want to tell you that Super Soul Sisters is the only program in Uganda where we find that the sisters, when I talk about sisters, I mean ladies come here and share with you their stories that you've not heard from anywhere else. I mean, when we talk about Super Soul Sisters, we're talking about sisterhood, stories that will inspire other ladies out there, stories that will evoke your empathy, stories that will interest you, stories that will be part of. So today, on this particular day, we have one of the most known lady in Uganda. I know that later on some of you may be acquainted with her, some of you know her, and she is one of the sisters that I believe her story is worth sharing here on UBC TV. She is one and only Nantongo Deborah, and I'll welcome her to the show. Nantongo, you're most welcome to Super Soul Sisters.
Thank you for having me. It's such an honor. Thank you so much.
Yes, Nantongo, I see you looking so vibrant, so flamboyant, so, nice looking, really.
Thank you
so much for coming to our show. In this show, we make sure that we share as sisters. That's why we are Super Soul Sisters.
I love it.
So I would like to know, I just want to take you back when you're still young. Tell us about you as a child. Yeah. How was Nantongo Deborah as a child?
As a child, I've always been so jolly, like so annoyingly. Like I was cold. They used to always call me happy. Like I was too happy all the time. I was that child that's always smiling, always happy. I would always find ways of, making people smile. Like I've always been, in a sad way to say, such a people pleaser. Yeah. So as a child, I was so playful. I had dalu. I had a lot of dalu. That's why I grew up having so many scars on my legs because I used to just be everywhere. Yeah.
So are you some of those kids, those days when they said they would climb, they tell them don't climb, they climb on mountains?
Trust me, my body is covered in scars from climbing trees and
climbing flowers.
I think it's because I'm from the Nchima clan. That's why I was like a little monkey, always climbing everything.
Yeah, that's interesting. So as a child, where did you go to your primary school? Did you go to primary school direct or you went through nursery? Tell us a little bit about your primary and
education. My education background, I was in Kampala Parents, and then after Kampala Parents, my parents first took me, because my parents were in the UK. Actually, all my family, apart from my brother Casey, are in the UK. Well, now Casey's in the UK, but my family has always been in the UK. So I was staying with my aunt in Kauko. So in Kauko, which is in Bonga. So I did my P7 in Kampala Parents, and then my dad insisted I joined the family in the UK. So I went to the UK, but then my mom also wanted me to try some boarding school. So we did a trip to the UK. Well, I did a trip to the UK, and then I came back to try out boarding school.
How old were you then?
From what I remember, they made me skip a class. You guys, when I was in Uganda, I was clever. I was clever. They made me skip an age. And then I remember when I went to the UK, I was too clever. And then Nenyononeka, I think, because I was too clever when I was in Uganda. And then when I went to the UK, but I remember I did my P7 at the age of 9. Because I remember they were making it such a big deal because they were like, you're too young to be sitting for P7, but it's because they had made me, something like that, I don't remember. Yeah. When I came to Uganda, I did that, I think a year or two in Taiba, and then my dad insisted they took me back to the UK. I went back to the UK, studied, I did my year 10, year 11, and then went to college. So I did my secondary school in Leicester Community, it's in Plaistow in the UK.
I know you're going to tell me about the university later. I'm first interested in primary school. Like when you were at Kampala Parents, what are those things that you remember about about how was Debbie like in that school? Like,
I was too stubborn. I was too stubborn. I was one of those kids that would get in a lot of trouble. Like I was not an easy child.
Do you have like, okay, share with us 2 things that you're like, okay, now this I remember I did it when I was in primary. Like those 2 naughty things that you remember, and then any other good thing that you remember you did.
In primary, okay, these are 2 things. I don't know if my dad would be happy for me sharing this. I swallowed a coin.
What?
I swallowed a coin, and they called my parents. The hospital like took me to hospital, and they did a scan. And all I remember seeing a scan with a coin in it, and like scared my parents. Like it really scared my parents. And then the other thing I did, I think I did homework for some kids, and then they reported me, and then they took me to, because I think I was in P6, and I did their homework, and then they took me to their class, and they gave me like chiboko in front of these kids.
Oh my God.
Those are the 2 things, the 2 memories I have when it comes to school. Like I swallowed a coin, and then I used to do people's homework, and I got in trouble for it. Yeah.
And what's that good thing that you remember that you did? You're like, okay, I'm proud of this.
When it comes to school?
Yeah, primary.
The travel. I remember, like Kampala parents, we used to go on a lot of trips. I remember we did a Girl Guide trip to London. We did another Girl Guide trip. It was like proper camping. I love camping. We used to do a lot of camping, but it was also in the UK. So that's what I used to love about Kampala parents. Kampala, in our day, Kampala parents was
not
school.
The Kampala of now.
It was that school where everything was lit, yeah. I used to love my teachers, actually. However stubborn I was, I remember my math teacher. I remember his face. I don't remember his name. Because I remember this was naughty. I remember I forgot to buy him a present, and I felt so guilty. So I came to Uganda. When I came back, I bought something in town, and I gave it to him, and he thought I got it from abroad. Sorry.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, but it was nice. I enjoyed my childhood.
Tell us more. Which family do you come from?
I come from Abenchima Abezuomedede. I'm a proud Nchima clan member.
Okay.
So my dad comes from Kasanda in Mitiana, and then my mom comes from Masulita, which is in like Hoima Road, Mitiana. Yeah. And my parents, Mr. and Mrs. Setumba, they have spent the last over 30 years in the UK. They love investing in Uganda a lot, so they made me fall in love with Uganda from such a young age. I think my mom made it my mom has always made sure that Uganda, where Ugandans at heart.
You feel at home, like you have to love your country. Yeah,
because we've always had to come back to Uganda at least once a year as children, and when we were young, I used to see it as, we're going to Uganda, because she makes sure you go visit your grandparents.
Go to the village.
Yeah, go to the village.
Get the experience.
And I used to be like, Mommy, when I go to the village, that water makes my skin get boils. But I've always had like very sensitive skin.
Yeah.
And when I sleep like in the village, my skin would have like a really bad rash.
Wow, sorry.
So to me, that used to be an excuse. I'm like, I can't sleep in the village and then my skin is so sensitive to like mosquitoes. But my mom always made sure we know where we come from, and we value, even at home, we were never allowed to speak like English in the house. You only speak Luganda at home. If my mom speaks to you in Luganda, you don't answer her back in English. She'll be like, Luganda, And obviously growing up abroad, you face a lot of racism in a lot of places. But it was always nice to come home and you're like, this is the one
and you
place.
feel welcome.
Yeah.
And I know that where the village life is, like when you go there, those kids who come and say, oh God, I want to be with Nantongo.
And not even just in the village, but coming to Uganda. Do you know how comforting it is to be around people and you're speaking the same language?
Yes. And you have the same color.
Same color, same everything. But in the UK, there's a place we go to buy like matoke. There's a place specifically, they bring Ugandan food. It's a Ugandan shop. Yeah. It has matoke, it has bushera, it has everything you crave from Uganda. When you're in the UK, it's the only shop you enter and you can hear someone speaking Luganda, and it makes you feel some sort of comfort.
Yes.
So, yeah, there's always been that feeling of I miss home. Yeah.
Now I want to ask you, because you said you were this naughty, very stubborn child.
Yeah.
So how were you like at home?
At home, I've always wanted too much attention. I've always been too spoiled. Like, my dad knows that.
Are you the only girl?
No. Oh, we're so many. I have Austin, I have brothers, I have 3 brothers, and I have 2 sisters. So I have Eva, Grace, those are my sisters. I have a younger sister and an older sister. And then brothers, I have 2 younger brothers and 1 older brother. So yeah, we're many. I'm right in the middle, like I'm the middle child. And you know what they say about middle children?
Yes.
You're ignored.
Yeah, true.
But my mom is such a lover. Like, she's those people that she's always adopted so many children. Every time, like, I think she worked somewhere where I think one of her patients killed herself, and she had no one. So she decided when that patient died, I don't know if
Is she a doctor now?
no, she was like a therapist at some point. But I think she got to a point where she just decided to work for herself. But she took on her children, but this was before we were even born. So we grew up thinking they were our sisters, even though they grew up and like disappeared. But that's the sort of person my mom is. She loves too much. Yeah.
So now, after like primary, you've told me you used to go to the UK, come to Uganda. So at what point did you join secondary?
So I was in Taiba for like a year. And I won't lie to you, I really enjoyed it because it was a very nice experience. And I've always said, even with my children, one day I would want to put them in a really good boarding school. Boarding school like makes you very independent.
Yeah,
So that's what I loved about it. I was the school entertainer. I used to entertain people.
Were you the music prefect?
Everything. No, not prefect. I didn't have any titles, but I was one of those people that if there's fun, just know I'm part of organizing it. Yeah. I was always like, I just used to love a good time. I've always been that person that loves a good time. I didn't taste it for too long because my parents took me then to the UK. Because I think when my dad was ill at some point, so the whole family was in the UK to make sure he was okay, because we thought we were going to lose him, but thank God we didn't. And that's when I went to the UK. When I went to the UK, getting into the UK system, like school system, was a bit challenging because, I left Uganda, you have a Ugandan accent.
You have a different syllabus.
Yeah,
different
everything is so different. I remember I was even bullied in my first years of school. Yes, people used to bully me because of my hairstyles. There used to be this like African boo-boo. Like they used to say all this.
Bad.
Oh, I'm telling you, there's a lot more bullying abroad, especially when you just go into the system like this. I think that's why it's easier if children are to go in such a system, go when you're quite young, because to go into it, people make comments as fresh off the boat.
And by that time you were like a teenager.
I was still young. I think like 11. I'm not quite sure. I was quite young when I went there permanently. I think I was like 12. It was quite challenging because you'd get bullied. People would say, "Oh, big lips." You have big lips. You have big. Oh, but I get my forehead. They would make fun of my forehead. Up to this day, that's the reason I wear wigs. So I can bring it a bit down.
Oh no!
I was traumatized. They used to make all these jokes, and then how I talk. They used to make fun of my, my accent, like, oh, African, But then eventually you grow out of it. You make your own friends.
Did you get support during that time from your family?
My mom and my dad just, they just teach you to just focus on your books. Everything else is background noise. And it helped me because it made me stronger. I realized at the end of the day, I'm here to study. And my mom really helped me as well with my first job. My mom was like, if you're here, as soon as I was of age, my mom helped me get a job, and I was working while studying. So I've always worked from when I was like old enough to work. My mom's always told me, you like nice things, you better learn how to work.
So that you have nice things when you've really,
Yeah,
really had
my mom's
some work
made it
to
very
do.
clear.
Yeah.
You like nice things, work.
After primary, you went to the UK. You went through like the college.
Yeah, no, I went. Yes, I did college. College, I did law, literature, and sociology. So that's
Yes.
what I did for my A levels. I did so well at college. I did really well. Actually, there's a story between that, but it's about my parents.
Please share the story. We want to know that. It sounds interesting, you know.
Okay, so between secondary school and college, my parents actually had a divorce.
Sorry about
So
that.
when they had a divorce, my mum, I think, came back to Uganda for some time. And during that time, I was like, okay, mommy's not here. So I decided, when I left secondary school, I decided, university, I'm going to do, no, college, I was like, I'm going to become an actress. I was like, yeah, I see myself becoming the biggest African actress.
And going to Hollywood.
Yeah, I'm going to Hollywood. So I decided to actually I decided to study like performing arts.
Yeah.
Because in the UK, everything is free. Education is free, medical care is free. So I was like, you know, let me study, let me become an actress. And people in my class were being recruited to work on things like Hollyoaks and EastEnders. EastEnders is very big in the UK.
Yeah.
It's like Uganda's, I think, Sanyo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, I could, you know, be the next big thing. They came, they did auditions. Every time I would audition, because I'm like, I'm going to, like in my head, I've always believed I'm going to be a star.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is my chance. I think the day before I went for like my biggest audition, my mom came from Uganda.
Oh my God.
And she was like, what course are you studying? I was like, performing arts. I'm going to be the biggest star Uganda. My mom was like, that today was the last day you're going to that school.
Oh my God.
She took me, she said, go find your certificates for your A levels. I mean, she found my, no, this is before A levels. She took me, we went to another college, applied for law, literature, sociology. She was like, you're going to study law and you're going to be a lawyer. I was like, Mommy, I'm going to be such a star. She was like, nope. She took me from that school, took me for, but up to this day, I actually thank her because in my mind, she was like, how can you come to such a country, you have such an opportunity and you're doing performing arts? Are you mad? No. Oh yeah, and then my parents remarried each other.
Again?
Yeah. You still love what God has put together.
No one
Hey,
shall put a
I'm
thunder.
telling you.
So this was after like a period of 2 years?
No, after 2 years. No, actually, she came back. We changed the course after like 2 years, but in the third year, because I remember when I turned 18, my parents remarried. Yeah, each other. And I even decorated their wedding because that was my first business. I started a decorating company in the UK called Golden Events, yeah. And my mom took me out of performing arts and put me into law, literature, and sociology. And I did very, very well. I did really well. I think I got an A in law, A in literature, and a B in sociology.
Yeah.
And then I got into Kingston, the university, where I did business with law.
So how was university like?
University, I've never shared this, but my university experience was not like other people's university experience. My university experience, I was such a good girl. You know how everyone was like, oh, when you get to university, you get to party crazy, you get to do this.
You get a boyfriend.
I feel like you get a boyfriend, you get to do all these things. I feel like God actually puts people in your life to guide you. And at that time, I got my very first serious like relationship. I was dating a guy called Carl. He was half Filipino, half Sierra Leone. He was such a nice human being. He was so nice. And I feel like because of him, I never got to do the crazy stuff that Carl made me miss out on enjoying life. Because I remember he was very strict as a boyfriend. he'll be like, you know, you don't need to party, you don't need to wear makeup, you don't need to wear that.
You're beautiful the way you are.
The way you are. He would buy me clothes, but like jogging bottoms and hoodies, you know. But I used to like it because he was a faithful. For me, if a man's faithful, only has eyes for me, I'm sold. And he would drive down 3 times a week because it was quite far. He was in London and my university was in Kingston, which is in Surrey. But he would drive down. All the free time I had, I was either working, because I used to do 2 jobs in university. You see how I love money, even at a young age.
Yes, you know, but also that was a good foundation for you.
The minute we go into holidays, I would have saved up my money. I used to work in sales, like telemarketing. I used to sell like BBC magazine food, like BBC Good Food, BBC Good Homes, those magazines.
Yes.
I used to sell those magazines on the phone, and these people used to put you on pressure. So they put like the sales, and it's like, if your name goes down, you start getting pressure. I think that's where I got my, like, that's where my high blood pressure came from. I'm joking, I'm from people. No, but it's like, you know, when you see your sales going down, so I used to always make sure my name was like at the top, on sales. I am very good with sales. That's when I knew I was good with sales, but I hate what it does to my mental health. So I hated sales because of that job. But yeah, I used to just travel, and, you know, just travel, make my money.
So what are those places you traveled to while you were at the university?
Oh, I had a group of girls, because I was very church oriented. I was the youth leader for so long at my church. I was such a youth. This is the only time I'm going to like hunt my own horn. I was such a good youth leader that you're meant to only do it for 1 year. They could find my replacement for 4 years. You're joking.
You were there for 4 years?
No, as in they kept on voting me. You're only meant to do it for 1 year.
Yeah.
But they kept on making me, like, they were like, okay, can you be the youth leader again?
Why was it that they only wanted you?
It's not because they only wanted me, but it's like, you know, when you do a job so well, you set the standard so high that for someone to replace you,
it becomes
they're
hard.
like, where? Who? Not joking. Let me be humble. Now, because of my youth leadership, all my friends were actually from church. So my girls that I used to travel with, we used to, like, they were from church. So my girls from church, we would, let's say, after, like, let's say in the summer, I would say for summer this year, we're going to go to Rome. And we used to always travel on each other's birthdays. So it's like the 4 of us. So that means
you've been to all those countries within the European
Yeah, I've been
sector.
around Europe. I've been, like, I love traveling. I love going to new places, and you wake up and it's like a whole new experience. Yeah. And we always had it as a tradition for each other's birthdays. You just want to wake up in a different city.
Wow.
Yeah, and feel sorry for whoever decided to marry me. Hey, the pressure. The only thing I asked for my birthday, I want to wake up and I'm not in Kampala and I'm not in London. So you decide.
Which country, which place you want to take.
And it has to be a dream destination.
Wow.
So I want to wake up. And even the times I'll be single, because obviously when we got older, like these friends, they get like mortgages, they get so into work, they can't take time off. For me, I was like, even if it means to go by myself,
you will go.
I'll travel by myself. And I did it. Oh, it was the worst experience of my life. Don't travel alone.
What happened? Tell us about that experience when you traveled alone. And were you at university or you were out of university?
No, this is when I was done with university. I started my business. After uni, I started a company called Golden Events. And it was the #1 decorating company in the UK for Ugandans. So I used to do everything. I used to go to a Ugandan wedding when I'm the decorator. I got a group of girls where we're the dancers. So I taught them how to do Maganda dancing. So we're the dancers, I'm the decorator.
The MC.
Just not the whole package. And I used to shockingly do makeup as well.
Wow, that's good.
I used to want everything. Like, you guys, I loved money at such a young age. But I think it's because my dad taught me. My dad has always set such a high standard. Because even like for my 16th birthday, he booked us like hotel rooms. And, you know, like, We did like a pool party. So in my head, my dad's always told me I'm very special.
Yeah, you are special.
He's always made me feel like you're very special. So I've always had this pressure on myself, like, yeah, it's my birthday. I'm a big deal.
So tell me about the time when you went for
When I went to Paris by myself for my
yes,
birthday.
by yourself. Tell us the experience.
By the way, this is the problem with believing you're special. Your standards are always too high. So even when
Too much expectations.
Yeah, even when people try to plan things for me, in my mind I'm like, oh, please don't. Because in my mind I'm like, you won't come close to what I want.
Yeah.
And the time I wanted to travel, everyone was like, oh, I can't travel, I can't travel. So I was like, you know what, let me go to Paris. Since I'll get some BOUJEE stock, you know, I can get to, because when I go to Paris for BOUJEE, I don't get to do like the fun stuff because, you know, it's all about stock. And then I even found like a photographer on Twitter in Paris that after buying the stock, we do like a photo shoot of the stuff I've just bought. And because Ugandans, trust me, you will go to Paris, you will take the pictures, but they'll still be like, it's not Paris. So it's like you have to, like with Ugandans, you have to do so much. So I was like, since I always miss out the fun stuff in Paris, let me just go and give myself a birthday treat. You guys, I got to Paris, I did the shopping, and when I get like really nice stuff, for me it makes my day. Like I'm like, kastam funyam shopping. I'm going back to the UK, only to get to the UK. And British Airways has lost all my stock.
What?
Everything was gone. They were like, we can't find your bags. I was like, what do you mean? I think I cried. And when I got back to the UK, my friends had like taken me to a very nice restaurant in Mayfair. My friends know I'm picky. Like, if you want me to have a good time, it has to be in Mayfair. You know? Sport princess, queen, I'm telling you. So my luggage was gone. I did the whole inquiry. I opened an inquiry. They took a whole month. They said, describe the bag. I went to the airport.
Weren't there cameras?
Basically, their defense, they're saying that because I didn't have luggage tags.
Yeah.
So they're like, we don't even know if you checked it in. And I even got confused. I was like, was I that? Because my birthday was very depressing. I'm not good with being alone. I won't even lie to you. So I remember and I'm like, you know when you go to check in, I was like, did I leave the bags right there? And I just checked in and walked off, and then I left the bags there. Because my last memory is taking them out of the taxi, the bags. Yeah. But then I was like I actually got so confused. I was like, maybe I didn't check them in. Because they were like, if you don't have a luggage tag, we can't track your bags, which is true. Trust me, even on my next Paris trip, I actually went to the airport just to be like, can I look at your cameras on the 27th?
And they had nothing.
No, they were like, we can't do that because we have warehouses of lost luggage. Like, it's impossible. But that stock number. Like, have you ever spent like thousands?
I know, like even because you're a person who loves, like you love your stuff.
And it's your hard work.
Yeah.
I think I'm still recovering.
When did this happen? How many years ago?
This was because it was a flight. And by the way, that's the last time I ever decided to fly to Paris. Ever since then, I take the Eurostar. The Eurostar, it's a train from London to Paris, and you sit with your bags or zirabako, like.
You don't want to let them out.
Maybe 4 years ago.
Okay, that's not so long ago.
Trust me, it still hurts.
Yes. Thank you so much for watching UBC Inspiring Uganda. Today we are here with Deborah Nantongo, one of the most flamboyant ladies we have here. And also I want to thank Dotash for giving us such a beautiful place. If you want good furniture, you want good decors like these ones, this is the place to come. Actually, there is parking even when you want to get your stuff, and they can give you wherever you want. For now, let us go for a break, but we shall be coming right back. Welcome back to Super Soul Sisters. My name is Jamila Oluka and you're watching UBC Live, Inspiring Uganda. Today we are with one of the most, as I told you earlier, she's a flamboyant, very lively lady, extrovert, someone whom you need to learn something from. And now we are going to know what is she doing? So, Deborah, welcome back.
Thank you.
It's been nice having you here on Super Soul Sisters. After university, after everything, when did you start having a business?
When I decided to move to Uganda, it's been a long process, by the way. People think moving to Uganda is easy. People leave Uganda for greener pastures. People leave Uganda for a better life. It doesn't mean they don't love Uganda, because trust me, I made a decision and I said, because of how much I love Uganda, I won't be in Uganda if I don't have A, B, C, and D. And I actually was moving here to be with my first husband.
Tell us first about the marriage.
No, because Bambi, do you know why I'm tired of like talking about him? It's because I believe me and him didn't have a good marriage, but I think let me not assume, but I feel like people make mistakes, and if he's a different person now, he doesn't want to hear that NANTONGO can't get your name out of her mouth. I don't know if you get what I mean. But when we didn't work out, I wanted to stay in Uganda. And before even deciding to move here permanently, it wasn't easy. So I made a plan. I was like, because I want to live here, I want to own my own car. I don't want to be making these monthly payments like we do in the UK. Because in the UK, you can have any car. You know, if you have good credit, you can have any car as long as you're paying for it monthly. In Uganda, I don't know how the system works, but I wanted to own everything I have. You know, I wanted a good salary, because in the UK, I'm used to, good money, because I work for it. If the job I have does not give me enough money, I'll just get another job in the free hours I have, So I decided to make as much money as I can. So this is what I did. I wrote down all the things I wanted and how much they will cost. And I was like, how do I get that money with these jobs? And I realized I have one job at the moment. I was working as a guest experience manager at St. Martin's Lane Hotel. And because of the kind of hotel it is, the money you get is usually when you upgrade someone, like an upsell. So if someone comes and they booked a standard room, if the penthouse is free or if a suite is free, I can give you a suite for half the price, and I keep a percentage. So the hotel gives you but then it still wasn't enough, because what I was planning for versus what I was making was not enough. I quit my dream job. I was like, let me hustle. So I was like, let me do a job that will allow me to work 9 to 5. So I was doing 9 to 5. I had an evening job that would make, you're looking after people that are recovering. So you do a night job. But
and then what time were you doing the business as well?
So BOUJEE hadn't come in the picture. By the way, when I even came to Uganda, BOUJEE wasn't in the picture. My main goal was doing farming. Because my dad told me, the kind of money you're looking for in Uganda, you only get that kind of money. That's guaranteed. You're used to making this much and you want that in Uganda. To guarantee such money, you can only do that in Gotunda Maji, you're doing farming. Because then even setting my debt to coming to Uganda was to make sure that that's when my farm will be in profit. So that's when I came back. So because my ex-husband was running that business for me, I had too much time on my hands. And I remember I was doing my makeup in Chisementi, and I saw that it had free places. So I was like, this is interesting. Because I had time on my hands, I was like, why not take one of these spaces? By the way, BOUJEE started from online. Every time I'll come to Uganda, I'll come with a suitcase of clothes. Because I would sit in a salon and people like your shoes, people like your watch, people like your... And they'll be like, oh, I like that. Where did you get it? I'm like, oh, I bought it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, look how you live, Vam Salunga, you look like a skeleton. Everything is gone. So I was like, and you know me, my business light bulb went on. For me, every time I see a gap in the market, I see business. So when I saw that every time I come to Uganda, everything I'm buying, people want it. I was like, why? So I looked around, I was like, hold on, the nice things, because I'm a sort of person, I like to wear things that you won't see everywhere.
Yeah.
So I was like, so every time I'll come to Uganda, I'll come with stuff. And then I started selling them on Facebook. So the idea started growing. And then I was like, but if I'm to do a store, I don't want just like another store. I don't want just, because there's so many stores, so many. I was like, I need to find things that people don't easily find. If I'm to sell gowns, I want gowns that not everyone's wearing. If I'm to sell suits, I don't want just these coats that stop here. I want like a nice, elegant suit. And if I'm to buy them, I don't just buy where people in London just buy. You go deep. These things are not easy.
No. So I want to know, like, I'm going to take you back a little bit. When, like you said, you had a good job and then you decided to quit that job. Maybe you can tell us, like,
why?
After quitting that job, how did you come up even with the idea of, like, by then, how did you say that, okay, let me go to BOUJEE, do this and stuff, and then come back to Uganda?
So BOUJEE came at the end. This is how you know what you can do your plans, but then there's what God has planned for you. And now I'm known for BOUJEE, yet BOUJEE was never part of my plan.
So what was the plan then?
My main plan was, let me work, let me do because I was doing a 9-to-5, an evening job and a weekend job and and then I was decorating on Sunday. So I was, for as long as there was a gap, so if I'm leaving this job and if I leave this job at 6, I'm expected here at 8, and then here I'm paid to sleep. So basically, you just give medication, you document it, you sleep in the same house.
That's
you're paid.
I was about to say, did you ever sleep?
No. You're paid to basically. I was like, for as long as I'm sleeping, I'm being paid for it.
Oh my God.
Let me tell you, when you're looking for money, But that job was the hardest because I would get to that job so tired. Because remember, I've just done a 9-to-5. So that was a job. Because I was, by the way, that job spoiled me because I never wanted to go back to finishing a job and you just go home. I was like, wait, I'm here? No one's paying me? Because that job, I was looking after 3 older women that suffer with mental health. So they've left like a mental hospital and this is like a rehabilitation. Like it's meant to get them back to normal life. They're still free to leave the home, but you monitor their behavior, you document their behavior, and they're in bed by 10, and the drugs that
I know those drugs. They really give.
Once they sleep for
about 6 hours.
I was going to say something that would have got me in trouble. I was like, there's a time I was like, wait, if they're sleeping, there's a chance for another job.
Oh my God.
I want to expose myself. But just know, for as long as I saw an opportunity, I got to. And the day, like, I would only do that Monday to Friday. And then on weekends, I had like a night job I was doing where I was just collecting money at the door. And then on Sundays, I was doing weddings. And then I had, it was a lot. So I was
like a roller coaster.
But then you get used to it. You get so used to it. Because to me, everyone at work always knew. If you know me, the days I was in employment, for as long as you want to get rid of your shift, just think of Debbie, because like, Debbie never turns down work. Because everyone was like, Debbie with her chicken farm, Debbie with her eggs. They used to call me chicken feeds. They'd be like, Debbie with chicken feeds, Debbie with chicken feeds. So my main goal was investing in the farm, because to me, that's the only way I'll be able to achieve the lifestyle I want. So BOUJEE started as I have time, because I had time on my hands. I've been selling clothes. I wanted something different. And BOUJEE made sense to me because I wanted something so different. And the name even BOUJEE, it comes from like the name BOUJEE is a French word, which means an elegant, classy lady. It has so many definitions, but the definition I love the most is that it means luxury in lifestyle, yet humble in character. I feel like with every woman, for as long as you're good at something and you see the demand for it, it should wake you up. Don't ever water down your brand. Find the best of the best, the creme de la creme.
So when you got BOUJEE, like you said, you came back to Uganda. By the time you moved to Uganda, had you already started the BOUJEE, or you first came in, decided to settle down, do your farming? When did you?
I started with farming. Yeah, I started with farming.
What were you farming?
So I have, like, it's birds. So I started with birds, and basically the business is selling eggs wholesale. So that's why you never see me like advertising for eggs and stuff. Though in COVID I did. I almost started selling those eggs door to door.
I remember during
COVID can
COVID,
humble you.
yeah.
Yeah. You guys, I've never struggled in that business.
But also, when I read about a bit of your profile, there's that particular job you did that you talked about, I think in one of your jobs of like making up people.
Yeah.
Maybe you can share that story also.
After COVID, things were hard. Like, BOUJEE was really suffering because our rent, like, we had to pay so much money. And then my farm had suffered big time. When I say big time, they, you know, because they had closed the borders off, everyone that is doing farming, all the eggs were, so the demand,
I remember
the demand was
the
low.
price went down up to about 4,000.
Literally, I think that's every farmer's worst nightmare. So because of that, and then the person that I used to sell the eggs to wholesale, he was like, this is my price if you don't go for it. And with his price, you're not breaking even. So I was like, that won't work for me. So when COVID was like done, I was like, you know what? Because I refused to suffer, let me go back to the UK. Like, let me work. Because one thing I know about myself, if I want something, like if I set my mind to something and I want it, I will work. I went back to my vision board. So because I know what it takes to be a great PA, I was a legal PA for so many people. I was working in a law firm and I was like a PA for like 5 lawyers. But let me tell you, the reality is that those jobs are so posh, they're so fancy. You're working in, you know, central London.
You meet important people.
Yeah, but the pay compared, let me tell you, that's the thing, because obviously it's the land of opportunity and equality, all those people get the same money. Because I remember, because I'm like a secretary, you get to see like people's salaries. And I remember when I'm like, when I do my cheyo, the money I get on my side hustle is 3 times this price.
Which you get at the end of the month.
Yeah. So I was like, this job is just good because I get to, you know, then we go to, like, you're working in bank. Bank is like, how do I explain it? Working in Canary Wharf in bank. It's like, but it's like those posh places. Everyone's in a suit. Everyone's so important.
Like Parliament.
Yeah. So I was like, these jobs of looking nice are killing me. So I was like, you know what? You know, in Uganda, I mean, in the UK, people, when you know people, someone's like, hey, there's this job, you can go. You're basically looking after, it's a hospice. So you just have to do like this quick course. You work in a hospice, so you're helping people in their last days. Yeah. And you're going to be looking after dead people at some point. Like, people come there to die, and you're just giving them a comfortable ending. Yeah,
like their last wishes.
Yeah, but it pays. Like, someone was like, it pays. So, I promise you, when I looked at that, I compared. So this was my second time going back to look for money. Because my very first...
Before COVID?
Yeah, no, this... So when I said, let me go back, because I was like, after COVID, because I'd done
that was like 2021, 20...
So this is after COVID. So after COVID, I was like, let me go look for money. Because this place you work 7... And they're like, you sign where it says you know the risks of working overtime. So I'd work 7 days a week, 24 hours... Because when someone's sleeping, you're literally just looking at, someone can pay for their family member to have someone in that chair to make sure that person doesn't die alone. You're the person to make sure.
Make sure that you help them to die in peace.
To die with someone holding their hand or. So you're like, you sit there and you're just watching this person. That shift, you wake up, they're still alive. You're like, okay, I've done 24 hours. And they're like, do you want to take a day off? Do you want to take maybe I was like, I'll do another 24, please.
How would you do that?
No, but then you get used to it. Oh my God, My very first day on that job, guys, that job was paying what these four were doing. I was killing myself. I was like, Kale, I wish I knew about this job sooner.
Yeah.
Because on my very first time on that job, someone died in my arms. Like, I remember I was being trained and this person, like, you know, we're giving them like a bed wash. And then she got like I was like, oh, she's really cold. Da, 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 da. And then they called the nurse. They're like, oh, ring the bell. She's really, the nurse came. She's like, oh, looks like she's just passed away. I'm like, she's just died like right now.
And you're holding her.
And then the nurse is like, oh, you're going to have to wash her again because she's going to have people like release things when they pass. I remember there's a lady called Lillian. Even thinking about her makes me want to cry.
Sorry.
She was called Lillian. She was so sweet. She was the sweetest lady. I think you grow numb to death because every day you come in the morning meeting,
dying,
they give you the report and they're like, oh, so they don't even say their names sometimes. They're like, oh, 307 passed away. We have someone new coming in today to go into 307. If you looked after someone and then the next shift finds, and like abazungu, they bruise very easily. A skin tear can be like your worst nightmare. You're like, banange. Because the way you've left someone, you have to do a body map and sign mulese wenti.
So how did you come out of that? How long did you work there?
I worked there. That's the story. I think by the way, I met my now fiance, Michael, when I was still working at that place. Like, we met when I'd gone to look for money and I was in the middle of suffering and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I remember that actually I was talking to him for like a month and I was not taking him serious. I was just like, this guy's not serious. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I remember calling him to just cut him off and be like, I'm done. I don't have the time. Like, I don't even have the time to meet you because I'm at work. We went on he asked me to take a day off. He was like, trust me, just take one day off and let me take you for a meal.
Was this before COVID or after?
This is after COVID because I met him like 2 years ago. And from our first date, we got on so well. I was like, this man can't be. I remember on our first date, I said, this guy's too good to be true. I refused to believe that there's men like that. And I'd be like, anyways, I don't have the time to be taking time off for dates when I could be making money. Because to me, time equals money.
Yeah.
But then eventually, when our relationship grew serious, he told me, you don't need to be doing a life like that. Go back to Uganda. Get your son, because I'd even left that was heartbreaking. I left my son in Uganda, which was the worst thing. And that's how he was like, Zikule se mobine before. Zingambe, and get out of that place. But it was sad leaving that place. Those places have politics. Homes have politics. There's someone every day trying to get you fired. Every day.
Because the jobs are well paid.
People get jealous when they see you booked every day. Debbie, how come Debbie works every day? How come Debbie has had no day off? When was your last day off? And they fail to realize, I'm good at my job. Relatives would personally request for me. They're like, my mom has never looked this good. My mom has never been this happy.
You gave them time, like looked at them like your own.
But I looked at them like, there's a lady, this is before, there's a lady that I got so attached to. She even told me I was pregnant before I knew I was pregnant. Wow. She was 102. She was like, oh, Deborah, you're having a baby boy? I was like, what are you talking about? I was even scrubbing her feet. I used to like massaging her feet. She was like, oh, you don't know yet. You're going to be a great mom because you've been a great care to me.
Yeah.
And that shocked me because I was like, maybe it's because I've been so good to her. She's just...
When did you come back? And then now you...
And I came back for good with Michael, who is my fiance now. Because he's left the UK. He's sold everything. We've moved to Uganda for good. You know, we've just bought a house. We're here for good now.
And how is the business doing? How is everything doing? The chicken?
The chicken, we're finally getting our cages. Finally. We're actually going for, they're scraping the land, so they're going to level the whole land. So my mom gave us land, well, gave me, but what's mine is his, and what's his is mine, thank God.
Yeah.
So we're focusing on the farm now, but BOUJEE, actually Ruth, my PA, manages BOUJEE. I've just got Ruth an assistant. So my assistant has got an assistant.
Yeah.
Ruth is a whole boss lady as well. So BOUJEE is doing well, thank God, because, you know, one of the things Michael did, he took me to Paris. We restocked BOUJEE.
Wow.
We restocked like all the suits. So now, before I used to only afford just a few, we got all these suits, every size, color.
And they look lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So we restocked the suits, restocked the gowns. Yeah. And the farm, just wait. We are going to be the...
So it's where, so far where you are now is where your dream was.
Yeah, where God allowed, where God wanted me. Like, I feel like there's things I've done in my power and they've not worked out because I've killed myself working and
yet God has better
and
plan.
it didn't work out. But when God decided it was time, I've got 10 times more than I prayed for. So I'm grateful. I feel like even Michael, I feel like he has invested in me because he believes in my hard work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I want you to tell us maybe 2 things that you want to leave out for ladies out there who are probably going through what you went through.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy to keep the seal moving.
Yeah.
When you have to do all those jobs and then go the setback you got during COVID and then where you are now. What advice, like 2 things you can share with people? What should someone do who is trying to make it in life?
If you're really trying to make it in life, I'm not saying I've personally made it in life because I'm still far from where I need to be. But if I was to give any advice to anyone, is to never doubt yourself. Never, ever, 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 ever doubt yourself. Bet on yourself every time. Believe that for as long as you put in the work, wake up every day, show up. Show up. For as long as a job feeds your children, adds to your vision. Actually, the first thing I'll say before I say that is have a vision. Write it down on paper where you see yourself, even if it's in a year or 2 years. Say in 2 years, manifest it. I'm going to achieve A, B, C, and D. I'm going to buy land. I'm going to save up for this, you know. Manifest it and put it on paper. You have to have a vision because it's that same vision. Every day when you work, every day you feel like you don't feel like going out of your house. Every day your boss shouts at you, or every day someone makes you feel like you're not good enough. You remember why you're putting up with a job like that, because it's paying you to achieve what you're working towards. So have a vision and manifest. And prayer. Number 1 is prayer, you know. Mukama talia zamanya. Trust me, everything I have now is not because of my hard work. However much I believe I work hard, but it's not just because of hard work. It's because of God's grace and God's mercy, and He cares. Like, God cares, because trust me, however much, you know, people could say, oh, now, you know, you've met a man, he's given you all these things. Trust me, the one thing I'm most grateful for is to be under the same roof as my child. And Mulunji. Like, to me, that means everything. I'm sitting Kucheyo looking for money, and my son is 6,000 miles away. We're under the same roof. I get to put Mulunji and Malachi to sleep myself. I get to drop them to school. That means the world to me.
What's your last message?
If you see that you're not happy with the life you want, keep working, keep pushing, and you will get it. And don't be fooled by a man that will come and talk all life for a man to just take your money. Don't give men money. That's my last message.
And where can people, you know, because you've talked about BOUJEE Boutique, I know that there are women who are out there who are a plus size, like me and you know, and beyond, and they may be finding, you know, difficulties getting stuff to look beautiful and elegant and flamboyant the way you're looking like. So where should they get you? Like, could you
come
share?
to BOUJEE. We're at Crane Plaza, Chisementi, opposite Acacia Mall. Just come. We're on the ground floor, G13. We're open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And the manager is Ruth. Find Ruth. call Ruth, stand at 70, scream Ruth, we will look after you. And even me, I'll also be there.
What about assuming someone is somewhere? Do you have like social media handles?
Yes,
Blah, blah,
so on Instagram, you can find us on Instagram is at boujee.ug. That's BOUJEE.ug. And obviously my Snapchat, MAMI DEB, I'm always posting boujee content. I live for boujee. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you for having
sharing
me.
such a beautiful story.
I've enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing such a beautiful story. It's really been nice having you in our show.
Thank you.
Being part of the sister.
And this setup is beautiful.
It is beautiful, and this is all back to Dotash.
They should contact me. I'm good at selling. I can sell anything. I am the queen of marketing.
Thank you so much, Deborah.
Thank you.
I would like to thank you all for watching UBC Super Soul Sisters at this particular moment. We also give thanks to BOUJEE Boutique and the owner for embracing us and also accepting to come to share with us her story. And I believe that if you have been following us, she has a very beautiful story that you need to pick a leaf from. Because when you see people somewhere looking all this beautiful, they have a story behind what they're looking like right now. So don't just rush. I think you heard what she said. Be resilient, get a vision, work towards that vision, never give up, and then you'll be where you are, where you want to be. Also, I want to give credit to Dotash for giving us such a beautiful place. I always tell you that if you want to put a great decor in your home, as in from the balcony to the sitting room, to your bedroom, to your kitchen, this is the place to come. They have such a beautiful furniture, beautiful flowers, beautiful art pieces. I mean, everything you want to make your home beautiful, this is the place to be. I also want to inform you that don't miss our shows every Wednesday, 9 p.m., just like you've watched right now. And then also on Fridays, 11 a.m., we do a repeat of what we played on Wednesday. And if you happen to miss watching on TV, you can also catch us on YouTube. Still Super Soul Sisters. You just have to type Super Soul Sisters and you'll get all variety of all episodes we've done right here on UBC TV. Thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.